What if the superstar who once had it all is now facing her greatest fall?
Done well, she would still be with her record label, and as
Jennifer Lopez, a name that once symbolized glamour, success, and the dream of making it big. But before the scandals, before the failed tours, before the backlash, there was a story of rise. A rise so dramatic, so powerful, that it made Jennifer Lopez one of the biggest stars on the planet. Close your eyes for a second, and picture it. The year is 1997. The world is watching as a relatively unknown actress steps into the shoes of a legend. Selena Quintanilla, the beloved Tejano singer whose life was tragically cut short. Jennifer Lopez, at just 27, takes the role in the biopic Selena. The pressure? Immense. The expectations? Unimaginable. Fans of Selena were protective. Critics were skeptical. Could an unknown dancer-turned-actress capture the soul of a cultural icon? And then, she did. The performance was raw, emotional, transformative. The audience cried. Critics praised it. Hollywood noticed. Overnight, Jennifer Lopez wasn't just another actress. She was America's new darling. A Latina woman headlining a major Hollywood film, something that, at the time, was rare, almost unheard of. From there, the doors opened wide. Lopez landed roles in thrillers like Out of Sight alongside George Clooney. Action dramas like Anaconda that became box office surprises. And she wasn't just acting, she was commanding the screen. But Jennifer wasn't satisfied. Acting wasn't enough. In 1999, she made a bold move, one that would change the trajectory of her entire career. She released her debut album, On the Six. The critics doubted her. An actress trying to sing. They said it wouldn't work. That it couldn't work. But then, the impossible happened. If You Had My Love. Waiting for Tonight. The songs weren't just hits, they were global sensations. Suddenly, Jennifer Lopez wasn't just an actress. She was a chart-topping pop star. Her timing was perfect. The late 1990s were a turning point in pop music. The world was watching Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Ricky Martin, Enrique Iglesias. And then came J.Lo. She wasn't just singing. She was redefining what it meant to be a crossover star. A Latina woman standing on the same stage as the biggest names in global pop. And for millions of fans, especially Latinas, she became proof. Proof that their voices, their stories, their identities could shine in a world that had often ignored them. From the Selena film to On the Six, Lopez had built momentum few could match. And she wasn't stopping. By 2001, Jennifer Lopez achieved something almost no one in entertainment history had done before. Her movie The Wedding Planner hit #1 at the box office. And her album J.Lo hit #1 on the charts. Both, in the same week. Think about that. An actress, and a singer, dominating Hollywood and the music industry simultaneously. It wasn't just success. It was dominance. Jennifer Lopez had become more than a celebrity. She was a brand. The fashion. The music videos. The romances splashed across tabloids. The iconic green Versace dress that practically broke the internet before the internet was even what it is today. Everything about her screamed untouchable. Unstoppable. Unforgettable. But as with every empire, behind the glitter and gold, shadows were forming. Whispers in the industry. Questions about her artistry. And doubts about whether Jennifer Lopez's success was built on talent, or on image. Those whispers would only grow louder with time. Jennifer Lopez was on top of the world. By the early 2000s, she wasn't just a singer or an actress. She was everywhere. Movies, music, fashion, perfume lines, magazine covers, the name J.Lo had become a global phenomenon. She had created what every superstar dreams of, a lifestyle brand. One that wasn't limited to songs or films, but extended to everything from clothing to endorsements. And fans ate it up. Her hits dominated the charts. Love Doesn't Cost a Thing. I'm real. Ain't it funny? One after another, her singles climbed to the top. Her videos, her dance moves, her style, all instantly iconic. And then, the romances. From Sean Diddy Combs to Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez wasn't just making music, she was making headlines. Her relationships became front-page stories. The paparazzi followed her every move. To the public, she was glamorous, confident, untouchable. But in Hollywood, the whispers were getting louder. Industry insiders began asking uncomfortable questions. Was Jennifer Lopez really the voice behind her hits? Or was the magic carefully manufactured in recording studios, using ghost vocals and backup singers? The accusations weren't new. Her breakout single, If You Had My Love, sounded strikingly similar to a track by singer Shantae Moore. Waiting for Tonight? Originally recorded by a little-known group called Third Party. Even I'm Real stirred controversy, with critics pointing out that the remix was built on a sample originally tied to Mariah Carey. Fans started wondering, were Jennifer's biggest moments truly hers? Or borrowed from others? But the questions didn't stop at music. In 1999, Jennifer Lopez's life collided with scandal. A nightclub in New York. Gunshots. Chaos. She and Sean Diddy Combs were caught in the storm of one of hip-hop's most infamous shootings. While Lopez was released without charges, her name was forever linked to the incident. And years later, when the victim attempted to reopen the case, Lopez's name once again appeared in headlines she desperately wanted to avoid. Still, she pushed forward. Because Jennifer Lopez always understood something, image was everything. Her 2002 hit Jenny from the Block was more than a song. It was a statement. I may be famous, I may be rich, but I'm still the same girl from the Bronx. Fans loved it. The video, the message, the beat, it became her anthem. But over time, even that authenticity was challenged. Locals from her old neighborhood began to question whether she truly stayed connected to her roots. Was she really Jenny from the Block? Or was it just another piece of the J-Lo brand machine? And when authenticity is questioned, the cracks in an empire begin to show. The stories of diva behavior only made things worse. Reports of Lopez demanding no one look her directly in the eye. Assistants were forced to communicate on her behalf. Cold encounters with colleagues who described her as dismissive and difficult. Even old interviews resurfaced, moments where Lopez casually dismissed other women in Hollywood. Gwyneth Paltrow, Cameron Diaz, Salma Hayek, even Madonna. At the time, it seemed like a playful shade. But in hindsight, it aged terribly. Especially in an era where supporting women became more important than ever, Lopez's words painted her as competitive, insecure, even cruel. And yet, despite the rumors, despite the scandals, despite the whispers, she survived. Because Jennifer Lopez was a master of reinvention. Every setback, every bad headline, she somehow managed to bounce back. Through dance anthems. Through romantic comedies. Through sheer star power. But survival isn't the same as invincibility. And by the 2020s, the world was changing. The music industry was streaming driven. New stars like Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and Dua Lipa were taking over the charts. Social media demanded authenticity, not just glamour. For Jennifer Lopez, the stage was shifting. And soon, the cracks in her empire would become impossible to hide. The year is 2025. Jennifer Lopez is ready for her grand return. The posters call it the rebirth. The interviews promise magic. The fans, at least the loyal ones, are excited. This is supposed to be her moment. Her big comeback. But instead of a triumph, it becomes a disaster. Ticket sales are sluggish. Fans complain about outrageous pricing. And then comes the breaking point, the infamous VIP meet and greet package. Nearly $8,000 for just seconds with Jennifer Lopez. The backlash is immediate. Social media explodes. Hashtags trend worldwide. Hashtag JLo greed. Hashtag cancel the tour. And one by one, the shows begin to disappear. Dates are cancelled. Venues go dark. What was supposed to be the celebration of her legacy becomes one of the most embarrassing tour failures in modern pop history. But it doesn't end there. Her much-hyped album, This Is Me. Now, it collapses under pressure. The rollout was massive. A documentary. A self-financed romantic film inspired by her marriage to Ben Affleck. The marketing called it the greatest love story ever told. But when it arrived, the reception was brutal. Critics slammed the documentary as self-indulgent. The film? Described as forced, shallow, forgettable. Streaming numbers were weak. Radio stations barely played the songs. And for an artist who once dominated the charts, the silence was deafening. Instead of a rebirth, Jennifer Lopez appeared out of touch. Detached. Living in a fantasy world that is no longer connected with reality. And just as the failures piled up, the ghosts of her past came roaring back. The allegations of ghost vocals. The accusations of stolen samples. The rumors that her biggest hits weren't really hers at all. To her loyal fans, it felt like betrayal. To her critics, it was confirmation, proof that Jennifer Lopez's empire was built not on artistry, but on smoke and mirrors. And when those old stories mix with new failures, a career can collapse overnight. Her image, once her greatest weapon, began to work against her. The Bronx girl persona was mocked on TikTok. Memes comparing her to Cardi B, another Bronx native who still gives back to her community, went viral. And suddenly, Jenny from the block wasn't an anthem anymore. It was a punchline. Even her personal life, once a source of fascination, became tabloid fodder again. Her marriage to Ben Affleck, once sold as a fairy tale revival, was now under a microscope. Every disagreement, every rumor, every whisper of trouble at home, amplified in the press, magnified on social media. And so, the question that once seemed unthinkable is now unavoidable. Was Jennifer Lopez ever truly an artist? Or was she always an illusion carefully crafted for the cameras? Her critics point to her connections, to the powerful men who shaped her rise. Sony executive Tommy Mottola. Her longtime manager Benny Medina. Rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Without them, would Jennifer Lopez have become the icon we know today? Her defenders argue she worked harder than anyone. That her discipline, her drive, her perfectionism built an empire. That surviving in an industry this brutal, for this long, is proof of her strength. But her detractors say something different. That Jennifer Lopez built an empire on borrowed voices, on branding, on spectacle. And that when the music stopped selling, the illusion shattered. So where does that leave her? Is this just a stumble? Or is it the end of Jennifer Lopez's reign? The truth is, every superstar faces a reckoning. For some, it's temporary. For others, it's final. In 2025, Jennifer Lopez wanted the world to believe in her rebirth. Instead, she found herself on trial. Not in a courtroom, but in the court of public opinion. Where the verdict is still being written, in real time. Can she reinvent herself one more time? Or are we watching the final curtain call of a superstar who once defined an entire era? One thing is certain. The world is watching. And the rise, the reign, and the collapse of Jennifer Lopez will be remembered as one of the most shocking turns in pop culture history.